In today's hyper-competitive world, the conventional wisdom for growth is pretty simple, right? Open the floodgates, more leads, more calls, more everything. But what if I told you that wisdom is flat out wrong? What if the relentless chase for more is the very thing creating chaos, burning out your best people, and just silently killing your profits? Well, today we are diving deep into a completely counterintuitive framework that the world's most efficient companies are using to get scalable growth. It's a story about less actually being more, about building walls to create the right bridges, and about reclaiming the most valuable asset any business really has. This is the story of the Strategic Exclusion architecture. Yeah, that's a heavy statement. Let's just let that sink in for a second. Now, this isn't about pointing fingers or blaming individuals. It's about a deeply ingrained systemic problem in how we all approach growth. And look, this robbery isn't happening with a weapon. It's happening with a calendar invite. Every single time a lead who can't afford you or doesn't have the authority to buy or is just, kicking the tires gets through, they don't just take up a 30-minute slot. No, they steal momentum. They steal morale. They steal your company's most precious, non-renewable resource, focused sales time. All right, so to really get our heads around this whole architecture, we've got a clear roadmap. First, we're going to diagnose the core problem that hits almost every business out there, the abundance illusion. Then, we'll uncover its origin story in the Great Lead Inflation, a crisis that really forced this change. From there, we'll get tactical and look inside the machine itself with the filtration engine, and then understand why it works by exploring the psychology of effort. After that, we'll build a practical blueprint for architecting your certainty, and finally, we'll zoom out to really understand the core philosophy holding it all together, the bridge of quality. Okay, let's jump in. So our journey really begins with a paradox that sits right at the heart of modern marketing and sales. For decades, you know the playbook, right? It's been drilled into us by every guru, every textbook. More leads equals more growth. The board demands it, the dashboards track it, and our bonuses depend on it. But what if that entire equation is just fundamentally broken? What if that constant, relentless pursuit of volume isn't the path to success at all, but is actually the one thing holding you back? Okay, so picture this. You've definitely seen this movie before. The dashboards are all glowing green. Lead volume is up, say 20% quarter over quarter. The pipeline looks absolutely stuffed. Marketing hits its MQL targets, that's marketing qualified leads, and gets a huge round of applause at the all-hands meeting. On the surface, it's a party. It's a celebration of numbers, of activity, of being incredibly busy, and man, it feels good. It feels like you're winning. But while all that celebration is happening, underneath the surface, something is breaking. Your best salespeople, they're getting wrecked, stuck in an endless cycle of demos that go absolutely nowhere. They're demoralized. Your win rates are flat, or worse, they're falling. The cost to acquire a real paying customer just keeps creeping up, and nobody can figure out why. You're basically celebrating the rain while the dam is cracking. Efficiency is bleeding out silently, one wasted sales call at a time. And that right there, that's the abundance solution. It's this really dangerous belief that a flood of activity means you have a healthy business. It's a trap, and the bait is all those shiny vanity metrics. I mean, it feels good to have a full pipeline, but a pipeline full of unqualified prospects isn't an asset. It's a liability. It's a liability that is actively eating up your most valuable resources. It's a system that's optimized for the appearance of progress, not for actual results. So what's the root cause? Well, it's this modern obsession with removing all friction. We're told to make it easy for people to talk to us. One-click signups, no questions asked demo requests. We're terrified of losing a potential lead. But here's the thing. When you do that, you aren't being user-friendly. You're being time-waster-friendly. You're creating a wide-open slide that attracts everybody, especially those with no real intent to buy. The alternative is an intent filter. It strategically adds friction, not to be difficult, but to act as a powerful repellent for anyone who isn't serious. It makes sure that only the most qualified, motivated prospects can earn your team's valuable time. Now, this whole way of thinking, this radical shift, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere in some boardroom brainstorming session. Nope. It was forged in the fire of a real crisis. To really understand the power of strategic exclusion, we have to go back to the event that made it an absolute necessity, the Great Lead Inflation. So it all came to a head around the mid-2020s. All of a sudden, bam, AI bots and automated lead gen services could pump out leads at a scale nobody had ever seen before, and they flooded every company's CRM with absolute junk. What used to be a gold mine, the inbound lead, it quickly became a graveyard of no-shows and unqualified tire kickers. Sales teams were working 12-hour days, busier than ever, but their win rates were just cratering. And this revealed the brutal math that had been hiding in plain sight. Companies were celebrating a low cost per lead, or CPL, because the leads were cheap. But they ignored the fact that the customer acquisition cost, the CAC, for those leads was basically infinite because they had zero chance of ever closing. It was a crisis of morale and math. And it was that crisis that forced this massive, fundamental realization. We had been thinking about our entire go-to-market strategy completely wrong. The whole slide metaphor, the one that encouraged a frictionless rush to the bottom, was the very thing causing the burnout. The funnel wasn't meant to be a slide. It had to be a filter, designed from the ground up to let only the right things through. And so you see this evolution in how the smartest companies started to think. The mindset was forced to change. We moved from lead hunting, that aggressive, volume-based chase of anyone who might fog a mirror, to deal guarding. The new game wasn't about finding more people to talk to. It was about rigorously protecting the time and focus of the people who actually close deals. It was a huge shift from convincing the masses to auditing for the few who are a perfect, profitable fit. Okay, so we've established the why. We get the problem of the abundance illusion and the crisis that created the solution. So now let's get practical. It's time to pop the hood and look at the actual mechanics of the machine designed to solve this problem, the Multistage Filtration Engine. Now, this isn't just some fancy contact us form. Think of it more like a series of intelligent, deliberate security checkpoints for your team's time. It's a 4-stage process that a prospect literally has to earn their way through. We start with the silent observation of implicit signaling, then we move to the direct challenge of explicit friction. That's followed by the transparent test of the value-based barrier, and the whole system is governed by the ultimate metric of final acceptance. Stage 1. This is where the real magic happens because it's all taking place before a prospect ever even fills out a form. It's about tracking their digital scent. Think about it. A prospect's actions on your website tell an incredible story. Are they spending their time digging into your deep technical implementation guides? Are they watching your 20-minute customer case study videos? Or are they just bouncing between your homepage and the pricing page? One is the digital scent of a serious evaluator who is deep in the problem. The other is the scent of a window shopper. By tracking this behavior, you can grade their intent silently in the background. This is your first and maybe your most powerful layer of filtration. You're listening to what they do, not just what they say. All right, next up, explicit friction. This is basically the admission price to get your team's time. You get rid of that simple, low-intent book a call button, and you replace it with a mandatory diagnostic form. And on this form, you ask the hard questions right up front. What is your budget? This filters out anyone who can't afford you. Who is the ultimate decision maker on this? This filters for authority. And maybe the most important one, what are the consequences for your business if you fail to solve this problem? This filters for urgency. Now, these questions do 2 critical things. They give your sales team priceless context, and they force the prospect to think seriously about their own commitment. The tire kickers, they'll run for the hills. The serious buyers will lean in. Stage 3 is the value-based barrier. And I'll be honest, this is the one that usually scares businesses the most. The instinct is to hide your pricing, hide your requirements, because you're afraid you'll scare people away. This framework says do the exact opposite. State your minimum project size or your starting price point clearly, early, and often. Put it right on your booking page. This gives the wrong leads, the ones who could never afford you anyway, a graceful, easy, and immediate exit. You save their time, and more importantly, you save yours. I know it feels counterintuitive, but being this transparent is one of the most respectful and efficient things you can do. And finally, how do you know if any of this is actually working? This is the governing mechanism for the whole engine. You stop obsessing over lead volume and MQLs as your main KPI. Instead, you focus on one metric above all others, the sales efficiency ratio. It's simple. It just measures what percentage of the leads that marketing sends over actually turn into closed-won revenue. This is the ultimate source of truth. It forces this unbreakable alignment between marketing and sales around a single goal, not just activity, but real profitable revenue. When this number goes up, you know the engine is working perfectly. So the mechanism is pretty clear, but it only works because it's built on a really deep understanding of human nature. Why does adding friction, asking tough questions, and being transparent about price actually attract better customers? It goes against everything we're taught. Well, let's explore the powerful psychology that's at play here. The first pillar is this fascinating cognitive bias known as the IKEA effect. And yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. Researchers ran these studies where they had people assemble those simple IKEA boxes. And what they found was pretty wild. People were consistently willing to pay significantly more for the box they built themselves compared to an identical pre-assembled one. the effort they invested, even the frustration, it translated directly into perceived value and a sense of ownership. The struggle made it theirs.
And look, this isn't just about furniture. It's a fundamental aspect of how our brains are wired. I mean, think about the meal you cooked yourself versus getting takeout, or the garden you tended to versus hiring a landscaper. We are hardwired to value what we work for. Effort is not just a cost to be minimized. It's a key ingredient in how our minds create value. Effort creates a sense of ownership.
So let's bring this right back to our filtration engine. When a prospect has to fill out your detailed diagnostic form, when they have to really think through their budget, and when they have to articulate their pain points just to get on your calendar, they're not being annoyed. They are building their own IKEA furniture. They are investing effort, and with every question they answer, their perceived value of the eventual conversation goes up. By the time they actually speak to your sales team, they feel like they've earned it. They're no longer just a passive observer asking for a demo, they are an invested partner in solving their own problem. And you pair that with another psychological powerhouse, the scarcity principle. In the human mind, there's a simple, powerful equation that we all run unconsciously. Things that are abundant and easy to get are perceived as cheap or low value. Things that are exclusive and difficult to obtain are perceived as premium and high value. By making your team's time and expertise something that has to be earned through a rigorous qualification process, you are signaling that it is scarce and therefore extremely valuable. You shift your company's positioning from a commodity to a prize. Okay, we've covered the what, the why, and the psychology. Now we get to the most important part, the how. This isn't just some abstract theory, it's a practical system. So let's walk through the 3-step blueprint for building your own filtration engine and architecting certainty right into your growth model. The blueprint itself is actually pretty logical and straightforward. It moves from definition to application. First, you have to rigorously define who you want to exclude by mapping out your anti-persona. You can't build a filter until you know exactly what you're trying to filter out. Second, you use that map to engineer friction at the very front of your funnel, in your ads, on your website. And third, you make it official by replacing your generic contact form with a powerful diagnostic barrier. Let's look at each step. Now, don't skip this first step. Honestly, it's the most crucial part of the entire process. We spend so much time building our ideal customer profiles, but we almost never build an anti-persona. So think about it for your business right now. Who are the time vampires? Who drains your team's energy and never ever buys? Define them with ruthless clarity. What are their telltale signs? Is it a certain job title? A specific company size? Maybe it's a particular way they ask questions about price. Write it all down. This document becomes the logic that powers your entire exclusion architecture. You know, the path to predictable, efficient growth really begins here. It's a simple 3-part mantra. The first step is to stop focusing on who you want, and instead, get crystal clear on who you absolutely must avoid. First, find the bozo. Because once you've defined your anti-persona with absolute precision, the how becomes almost obvious. The filter practically designs itself. The telltale signs of the wrong fit become the exact questions you ask in your diagnostic quiz. The budget they don't have becomes the price you display up front. First, you find the bozo. Then, you find the filter. And this is the beautiful, inevitable conclusion. When you successfully and systematically repel the people who drain your resources and waste your time, well, you're left with a pipeline of only high-intent, perfectly fit prospects. Your sales team transforms into a hyper-efficient closing machine. Your win rates soar, morale skyrockets because every conversation is meaningful. And that is when you find real, scalable, and most importantly, profitable growth. We're at our final section. We've looked at the tactics, the psychology, and the implementation blueprint. Now let's just elevate our perspective one last time to understand the core philosophy that holds this entire framework together. Because this isn't just about efficiency, it's about a whole new definition of respect in business. This is really the ultimate synthesis of the framework. On one hand, you have the cold, hard logic of unit economics. The math is undeniable. Disqualifying bad fit leads early dramatically lowers your customer acquisition costs. But on the other hand, you have a warmer, more human truth. This is about professional respect. Respect for your prospect's time by not wasting it, and most importantly, a profound respect for your own team's time, energy, and expertise.
Let's put this in stark economic and human terms. A no that happens because someone sees your pricing on your website and decides not to book a call, that's incredibly cheap. It costs you basically nothing. But a no that comes after a 60-minute demo, a follow-up call, and a custom proposal,
That no has cost you hours of your most valuable resource, your team's focus. The no at the top of the funnel is easily 10 times more valuable than the no at the bottom. Your filtration engine is designed to find that early no relentlessly, so you can protect your team for the yes that truly matters.
At the end of the day, we have to unlearn the old models. Growth isn't a linear function of volume. It's a learned discipline of focus and strategic exclusion. True scale comes from building a bridge of quality over a vast canyon of noise. Because in the end, the best marketing doesn't just push people through a funnel, it qualifies, it guides, and it pulls the right people toward real, undeniable value. And that is a system worth building.